Were you wondering what treasures Eminem was hiding in his lab? Well, I have good news for you. In recent days, an anonymous user published a collection of previously unheard songs by Shady entitled Straight from the Lab 3. It features songs from the King Mathers era to the latest, and among the guests we can hear 50 Cent, Slaughterhouse, or even Nate Dogg, among others. And for fans of the Relapse era, yes, you'll find a lot of previously unheard accents there. So are you ready? Then let's take a look at Straight from the Lab 3. In the past, we have already seen leaks of unreleased Marshall tracks. These were primarily Straight from the Lab and Straight from the Vault, also simply called Straight from the Lab 2. This time there is a really big leak. First, 14 tracks labeled Straight from the Lab 3 appeared online, but since then, new tracks have kept popping up, including early versions of songs we already know, as well as brand new, previously unreleased stuff. Let's now take a look at the individual tracks.
In my head, it's like I got two fucking beats going at once, like two chicks in a tug-of-war trying to compete for my love.
The first track on the track list is called Marshall Powers. A snippet of this track was already circulating on the web some time ago, and among the many fake snippets generated by AI, this one seemed to sound plausible. With the latest leak, we have received confirmation of this, as we can now hear the full version of the song. Marshall Powers is said to be from April 2018, and Dr. Dre himself is responsible for the production.
Is it the brew, or is it the drugs that make me do the things that I do when I'm in love?
The next track is Love Drunk, and you can immediately hear that this one is definitely from the Relapse era. According to the information I've been able to reach, it was written in March 2009, so one can suspect that this is one of the tracks that would appear on the legendary Relapse 2.
There's parts of me for you to love, and there's parts for you to hate. But when you talk of who the greats, I really shouldn't be so hard for you to rate.
The sound of the freestyle entitled I'm Twisted is definitely reminiscent of the CO.AG album. Interestingly, it says such lines as, "Isn't Catholic Christian, but she worships my balls. She's sacrilegious. Shout to Kathy Griffin, hold your head up." Sound familiar? Well, take a look at this excerpt from Fall from the album Kamikaze.
Dre said hold your head up. Kathy Griffin, it's not just cause you lack attention, it's because you worship the 12 balls, you're sacrilegious.
Already, these three tracks are proof that M is hiding in his lab full of valuable material. However, the real gems are yet to come.
Shady be this way till the day Shady dies. So here we go, let's go with the sociopath.
Another track, but not the last, that will make Relapse fans start to regret even more that Relapse 2 was never released. Again, we get a beat from Dr. Dre and Shady rapping in his psychopathic killer style. Interestingly, much of 50 Cent's verse was released in 2022 with the track Is This Love from Curtain Call 2.
Oh, whatever it's worth, I'm the last man on earth.
I'm Sorry is a track that is definitely associated with the Recovery era. According to some sources, it was supposed to be the lead single from that album in the first place, but that didn't happen due to problems with the use of a sample from Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
Your world, just follow me, girl. Let's go somewhere, get some privacy, girl.
Track number 6 is a real gem, as we can hear Nate Dogg as a feature in it. What's more, Scott Storch is said to be responsible for the production. The track is a real club banger, touching on the subject of groupies. Listening to Eminem's voice, one can conclude that this track was created not long before his hiatus. Perhaps it was created with the King Mathers album in mind.
I can hit you from the back, I can hit you from the front, from the bottom of the top, it's however you want.
Key to My Room is another treat for Relapse fans. The sound of that era cannot be mistaken for anything else, and this track is another perfect example of that. Apparently, Key to My Room was recorded in July 2009, which is after the release of Relapse, which could mean that it is one of the tracks created with Relapse 2 in mind. Now, do we have any fans here of Shady's sound from the period when the soundtrack to Southpaw was released? If so, this next position should definitely satisfy you.
Stick a javelin in his Adam's apple, and if I can't get it in, start unraveling his intestine in less than a half-minute thing.
Trade-Off is a track on which, in addition to M, we can also hear the entire Slaughterhouse. I wonder if this song was created for the soundtrack to Southpaw, or if it was created for some other project. Let us know what you think after checking it out.
Jump out, find a window, jump out, hide your demo, jump out, find a place to jump out.
When I first heard the sound of this track, I thought it was something from the first sessions for Relapse, when the sound of this project was only slowly forming. However, it turns out that this is most likely a pilot that Marshall recorded for Dr. Dre, and that the track was meant to be dedicated to his legendary Detox album. It's worth noting, by the way, that the name of this project appears several times in the lyrics. In Ritz, Eminem's flow is reminiscent of the days of the Marshall Mathers LP2. However, the overall sound of this track doesn't quite match what we could eventually hear on that album. Although in Ritz, we clearly hear Slim Shady's character again. Perhaps because of these differences in sound, the track ultimately did not make it onto the album, even in the deluxe version.
You say I'm cold to the touch. Could've told you this much. As I go for the gusto, bending you over the hutch.
Number 11 is a track titled Freak with guest appearances by Anderson .Paak and Westside Boogie. Some leaks of this track were already circulating on the internet before the entire Straight from the Lab 3 was published. The track is reportedly from the soundtrack to Bodied, a 2017 American battle rap comedy drama film directed by Joseph Kahn and produced by M and his manager Paul. Also, Anderson .Paak confirmed the existence of such a track in a conversation with Sway in 2018. Today, thanks to recent leaks, we can finally hear it. Interestingly, Eminem raps in his verse, "Your midriff got my dick stiff as a stick shift." This line was later used in the song These Demons, From Music to Be Murdered by Side B.
Friction and mischief is like a bitch's midriff. Shit gets my dick stiff as a stick shift.
As you can see, Marshall has a habit of going back to his older works and using them even many years later. Another track from the track list, Straight from the Lab 3, is a particularly interesting example of this.
You people need to learn how to take a joke and lighten up. Let your frown go tightening up your face so you can.
This piece is particularly interesting because of the fact that its various parts were recorded in different years. In the intro itself, M utters the following words: "Paul, I made this shit a long time ago, so I'm sorry." Apparently, this piece was created between 2001 and 2008. So it's hard to say whether it was created with any particular project in mind. What can certainly be said about this track is that it is full of controversial verses. However, this is still nothing compared to the last item on our list.
My brother said my mother left my father.
After the release of The Death of Slim Shady, the opinion circulated that the original version of the song Antichrist was from 2005 and was too controversial to be released at the time. On Straight from the Lab 3, we can find a skit preceding this song, and then just the original version of Antichrist. We have to admit that this version is very controversial indeed. Shady most likely wrote this song after Michael Jackson, in response to the video for Just Lose It, bought the rights to some of Marshall's songs in retaliation. Also noteworthy is the fact that we could already hear the first 8 verses from this version of Antichrist in Renaissance, the opening track of the album, The Death of Slim Shady.
With balls in his do-rag, he sags, fearing no man. He stands pinning his hand like Edward Scissorhands, who slices competition and just goes about his business.
Have you had a chance to hear this track yet? If so, do you think it should have been released in 2005? Or did M actually go a step too far and create something too controversial even for him? Let us know in the comments.
Open my thug, motherfuckers know. This be the realest shit I ever wrote.
As I mentioned earlier, the first leak contained 14 tracks. However, later more previously unreleased items from Marshall's lab began to leak onto the web. Most of them are demos or alternate versions of songs we already know, but other items also appear. Among them, the track Smack You certainly deserves special attention. It is a brutal diss on Suge Knight, in which we can also hear a little Haley. In addition, we can also hear the original version of Brand New Dance recorded for the Encore album under the title Christopher Reeves, as well as the skit Paul, in which M's manager refers to this very song. Fans of the Relapse era will also find something for themselves among these leaks with the tracks Sexual Healing and Back and Forth, which are actually original versions of songs we received years later as Is This Love and Discombobulated. For many Eminem fans, the star came a little late this year, presenting us with a considerable collection of great songs. And how do you guys view the whole situation? Do you think that since Marshall did not want to publish these tracks, they should never see the light of day according to his will? Or are you happy that we have received so much new music from the Detroit rapper through the leaks? Be sure to let us know in the comments. And of course, if you've had a chance to listen to Straight from the Lab 3, share your impressions and let's continue the conversation. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to always stay up to date with news from Shady's world. Until next time, Stans, peace.